And so I'm praying that they don't start fighting because I'm standing in the middle of them and I'm definitely going to get hit. Hey y'all, I'm Brianna and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a substitute teacher storytime video about how I had to break up a fight at lunch. And so a quick bit of background information on me. I have been substitute teaching for about 4 or 5 months now. I pretty much do every different subject from grade levels 5 through 12. And so I am on the progress to becoming a certified teacher in Texas, and in the meantime I have been substitute teaching. So let's get into this story time. Okay, so let's be real. When I first got into substitute teaching, it did cross my mind about what would I do if there was a fight. So I'm a Twitter junkie and there's always hilarious school fight videos on Twitter. And most of them that I have seen, every time a teacher gets involved, they end up getting hit, punched, kicked, and it just turns into a mess. And so I kind of, in the back of my head, thought about what would I do if there was a fight, but I never expected to be the one to break up a fight. I always thought that, oh, I'm just a sub, so I'll just mind my business, keep walking, and a real teacher will handle that. So I've managed to go about 4.5 months without ever having to experience a fight, which subbing in middle and high school was actually kind of surprising because, as you guys know, kids are kids, and every now and then they will fight in school. So earlier this week I was subbing for a coach who had lunch duty every single day, and so basically for about 20 minutes I had to go to the cafeteria and just monitor kids going through the line, help them if they need anything, and just make sure that they're behaving and not doing anything crazy. And so I was doing lunch duty. It was pretty boring, just watching kids eat, walking around the cafeteria. If they need silverware, I would get that, pick up trash I see, they asked to go to the restroom. So it was pretty boring stuff. And so I'm checking my watch, seeing it's almost time to go. I think I had about 5 minutes left, and then I would be able to go back to the classroom and have about 30 minutes to chill before my next class came in. So there were about 3 other teachers, including myself, in the cafeteria at the time, and I believe it was lunch for 8th grade. And so I was kind of just doing my usual walking up and down in between the different tables, checking that kids are seated, being orderly and not doing anything crazy. And so I'm walking by and I see 2 boys stand up. And so at this school, they seat each row by gender, I guess, and so all the boys are on one side and all the girls on the other side of each table. And so I'm walking by and these 2 boys who are on the same row both stand up and they're kind of talking back and forth, and so I start walking towards them to see what's going on. And so at first glance, I didn't think anything was serious. I mean, kids play all the time. Like, kids will play fight, they'll just do crazy things. And so at first I thought that they were just friends, just playing around. And so as I got closer, I could kind of hear what they were saying. It was that kind of like post up, like say one more thing, and then one of the guys actually took off his shirt. So he had like a undershirt under it, like a tank top wife beater type thing, and so he took off his shirt and they're still kind of talking back and forth. They're standing up, and I'm noticing that the boys around them, the kids around them, are starting to kind of like hype them up, like, you know, when you see that a fight's about to happen. And I guess in real life it would be kind of like a circle forming around them, but since we're at school and they have to sit down, the kids around them are still in their seats, but they're kind of making noises, oohing and awing, and kind of like hyping them up. And so it was at this moment that I realized that they were about to fight. So this one boy takes off his shirt, he has a tank top under, and he's kind of just like posting up, and they're kind of still going back and forth. And so I kind of look around the cafeteria to see where the other teachers are. And so the cafeteria isn't that big, but there is a lot of space to cover. So I look around and the other 3 teachers who are on duty with me are nowhere near me. So I'm obviously the closest one. I'm standing about 10 feet away from this. I can clearly see what's going on. And so for a split second in my mind, I had that mentality like, I'm just a sub. I'm not trying to get in the middle of a fight and get punched, get hit. I would rather have the real teachers come and resolve this. But then my conscience was like, okay, you're standing right here, you're seeing this happen in real time. The other teachers are kind of just walking around. They haven't really picked up on what's about to happen here. So I kind of walk and step in the middle of these two boys and try to break it up. So they're still going back and forth, just talking at this point. So nobody has thrown hands. Nobody has thrown a punch, done any of that. So I stand in the middle of them and try to resolve this. Like, hey, let's step aside, let's calm down, let's sit down. And so I'm praying that they don't start fighting because I'm standing in the middle of them. And first of all, I look like a student. They're pretty much the same size, if not bigger than me. So, and these are two boys. So I'm praying that they do not start fighting because I'm standing right in between them and I'm definitely going to get hit. And so I'm trying to calm them down, but of course all the kids around them are hyping them up. And this boy is like literally like shaking with anger. You can tell he's visibly angry. He is standing probably, so I'm in the middle and each boy is about 2 or 3 people in between. So like when you're sitting at a table, there's probably about 4 people in between them. That probably didn't make any sense. Okay, so rewind. So I'm standing in between them and this one boy is visibly angry. He's physically shaking and I can see that he's trying to control himself, but everybody around them is hyping them up. And so I'm trying to get them to sit down, trying to separate them and just hoping that I do not get hit. And so finally the other teachers kind of see what's going on because not only this section but the whole cafeteria is kind of peeping what's going on, and so all the kids are starting to get rowdy, starting to hype them up. And so the other teachers see this and they come over to my rescue and we finally break them up and divert a fight from happening. And so my adrenaline was running, my heart was racing. I did not expect that to happen. It was an average boring lunch duty. And so after that, the fight was broken up. Each of the kids had to go see the principal and we pretty much calmed down the cafeteria, got the kids back to eating. And so it was actually funny because one of the teachers who helped break up this almost fight, it was a guy teacher. And he was like, yeah, you know, boys will kind of just stand there and act like they're going to fight and keep saying, you say one more thing. No, you say one more thing. But girls will literally just like grab hair and start hitting, which is, it's true. So luckily the fight was averted and I thought that, okay, check my watch, my lunch duty is over and now I can just go about the rest of my day. So as it turns out, I would see those two boys again. And so later on in that day, I actually had both of them in my class, but at different class periods. And so the boy who I said was like visibly like shaking, like even after the fight was broken up, the other boy was taken away first and the boy who had taken his shirt off kind of just stood there for a good 2 minutes and was still just like shaking with anger. And so we'll call him boy number 1. So I had boy number 1 in class and this was the period after lunch. So it had only been about 30-40 minutes since that whole fiasco at lunch. And so I was subbing for an 8th grade history class and all they had to do was work on a worksheet. Of course, boy number 1 was not working. He was still pretty fired up about the thing at lunch and all the other boys in the classroom would not stop talking about it. So the entire class, they're kind of like hyping him up like, oh, you should have fought him, you should have done that. And boy number 1 is just soaking it all in. He's still pretty angry about it and I never really understood what the almost fight was even about. And so the entire class, boy number 1 is talking about what he would have done, how he would have beat him up, and like me sitting at the teacher's desk is like, you guys were almost fighting for like 5 minutes, not really 5 minutes, but a long time, and nobody threw any punches. And so boy number 1 is over here just kind of soaking up the hype of the classroom, acting like this big tough guy, and I'm just like, okay. So next period, I have boy number 2 in class, and so he seems more calm about it, but I do kind of just pick up on conversations, and from what I understand, this boy number 2 actually got suspended because boy number 1 said that he swung, like punched him. And I'm a substitute teacher, it's not my place to get involved, but in my mind I was just like, how does this boy get suspended but not the first boy? Nobody swung, nobody hit anybody. I was literally right there. And so during that class, I could kind of hear boy number 2 just talking about how it was unfair that he got suspended because he allegedly punched boy number 1, and I think boy number 1 might just have gotten a slap on the wrist. So thank God I did not have boy number 1 and 2 in the same class, because that would have been a disaster. And so yeah, that was my first time as a sub having to break up a fight, or an almost fight really, and thank God that they did not actually fight, because I would have gotten hit definitely standing in between them. And so also thank God that it was not girls, because totally true that if it was 2 girls, they would not have done any talking. They would have just stood up and got to work. And so boys, they do a lot of talking. But yeah, so I can definitely say that I know it would not be my last experience. I'm working on becoming a teacher, and kids fight, and so definitely trying to prevent the fight from happening before it happens is the best move, and really monitoring the kids to make sure that everything's cool. And so sometimes it is hard to tell because there is a lot of joking around and play fighting, but you can definitely tell that when the line is crossed between play fighting and actual anger and they want to fight each other. And so if you want to see more substitute teaching videos, I actually have a playlist that I will link down below, and I have more videos about my experience substitute teaching, and I'm working on becoming a full-time certified teacher, so I will definitely have more classroom and education related videos. So give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye y'all.